Hello, welcome to today's basically spell school review for Frostgrave 2.0. Today we're going to kind of cover the Illusionist school of magic and what changes have happened there. Now this one actually has a couple changes. Let's start. You may like some of these changes, you may not. Alright, so let's start with beauty. Casting value is still the same at 10. But what happens, all of it pretty much stays the same, except it loses the old rule about a creature or opponent forced to fight someone with the beauty spell on them is at -1 to fight. That's no longer in there. All that's required is a passing the will check. If you pass it, you can fight. If you don't pass it, you can't fight. So you can't really be compelled to fight anymore in the old sense. That thing that's going to fight, that like controlled warband member, mind control, or construct, or whatever, has to make a will check to be able to fight. That's the only way to really compel them to fight. Alright, the next one, monstrous form. Holy cow, gone. Now, I've got mixed feelings about this one because whereas beauty only kind of worked on things that really weren't in the bestiary, actual, humanoids kind of thing, monstrous form affected everything else. So it's almost like you lost half of that ability. I'm sure now one of the reasons some of these things were removed is they weren't, from feedback from players, they really weren't used much. They weren't taken. They were seen as kind of meh type spells. But really, I thought they were pretty. This was a pretty good one to have because I know I had a spellcaster who I created would use this. The thing is that if the monstrous form would work on animals, on basically anything. I think it was except for undead demons and constructs, which that made sense. But there's a lot of animals out there, and a lot of other things that didn't fit that category, and now those, and of course, people. So it would also affect the same thing beauty does, plus animals and stuff like that, like frost giants and worms. They were affected. Now that's gone. So now you don't have that protection anymore. Don't know how I feel about that, really. They did, however, add the new spell called Blink. Let's read that real quick. It's an illusionist spell, obviously, but its casting value is 10 or 12, and it's line of sight. The spell can target any figure within 12 inches. And what you do is you move that figure 4 inches in a random direction. So again, roll d20 in the direction the triangle is facing. That's the way it goes. The figure, however, may make a will roll with a target number equal to the casting value in order to resist the spell. If successful, of course, the figure doesn't move. Uncontrolled creatures will always attempt the will roll. So this is great. You cast it on an uncontrolled creature, you make a will roll to move them around up to 4 inches. Cast on your own guys, you don't have to make a will roll. Cast on your opponent's guys, they may want to make a will roll, may not want to. Depends on what the guy's thinking, right? But it's a simple 4-inch move. There's some potential there, and it's situational, obviously, but it's a pretty neat magical effect. I think it'd be useful to keep treasure carriers from getting away too fast, Just a thought there. Alright, next one though, Fool's Gold. This is a huge change here. The casting value went up from 8 to 10, and now it's a line of sight spell, because now it no longer creates an extra treasure that you place down to kind of fool your opponent, which I loved. I played a character that had that, and that was one of my favorite things doing, is putting an extra treasure down and maybe the only one know which one of mine that I put down was fake. Of course, you mark the bottom, and you can, it's right there. Ha! See, sorry, you picked it up, and it's not really there. It was entertaining, and of course, it made the opponents think. Well, that's gone. Instead, what it does is when you cast that, it causes a model to drop the treasure they're carrying. So I don't know if I like that. They have to make a will test against it, the casting value, and then what you do if you're successful is you take the treasure off the character that's carrying it and move it 4 inches in any direction you want. As long as the final spot's within the line of sight. But that's... I mean, I guess what, you're fooling them to think, well, this isn't really treasure. This isn't valuable. I'll just get rid of it. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not... I like the old one. So, I don't know. Maybe we'll keep both versions. I mean, Magic's magic, right? There's thousands, I'm sure, of hidden magic spells in the Felstad from way back when. Who knows? Maybe the old Fool's Gold really is one. I mean, I don't know. I probably have both in my campaigns. Just that way the character can have whichever one he wants. Not certain way. I'll have to tweak the name of the old one. All right, anyway, let's go on to the next one. Glow and invisibility stay the same. No changes there. Illusionary Soldier does have some changes. It's now touch as well. So when you create this, you can't bring an apothecary in. Yeah, just like the original one. But it brings in an Illusionary Soldier if you cast it before game, which is the other way of doing it. You immediately get to place, add a member of your warband. The thing is that says that the player must reveal which soldier is the Illusionary Soldier. So it's like, well, what's the point almost of having him? The one thing an Illusionary Soldier can do in that situation is at least block or force combat. You can do that because it still can't pick up treasure and such, but it's kind of defeats the purpose if the opponents already can tell which one's the illusionary one. So I don't know, but what you're doing here is you can actually cast it during the game as well. So if your illusionary soldier is revealed, you can cast it again and create another one, and you'll place him. The soldier, let's see, would be placed essentially right next to the spellcaster, right? Because touch, right? It's a touch distance. So you create him right there, and then you could basically have another warband member again to force combat, to block for the magic user or spellcaster. So there's some use to it. I can see the use, but I guess the idea that you have to reveal it kind of detracts a little bit from what I picture the Illusionary Soldier to be. I guess now they're more ghostly looking, and you can obviously see through them, so they're obviously not real. But they're real enough to you that when you see them, you still perceive them as an attack when they're getting that close to you. Oh well, here's my take on it. Transpose has actually been, it's really neat. They've actually increased the range to 12 inches now instead of 10, and that's between models. So you have to be within 12 inches. They have to be in line of sight, and both have to be within 12 inches of the caster and 12 inches of each other. So it increases the range a little bit here. Uncontrolled creatures do not make will rolls to oppose. That's a big change. So you can actually take your wizard, put him within range of one of your guys that's in combat, and an uncontrolled creature, swap the two, and now the uncontrolled creature's in combat with your opponent, and your guy's safe. Just a thought. So that could be useful. Alright, so there's some changes to the Illusion School there. I'm not certain I like some of them, but they are what they are. Again, I know Joseph's intent is to make the game fun. And if you think, if your gaming group thinks some of the older ones are more fun, by all means, I mean, throw it in there. So you have, these are the 8 starting ones. You can have the older ones that have been taken out, you can put them back in as additional spells that are available to that school. Just a thought. Okay. All right. Hope you liked it. Comment below if you have your perspective on it. I'd like to kind of see what you think. And otherwise, share, like, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.